In this video, we're going to be checking out some super thin cases. Now, these cases aren't like some of the minimalist cases. These cases are actually full cases that cover, the normal portions of your phone. They're just super thin. These are made by TOTALLEE, and they're made for the iPhone 16 Pro Max and other versions of the iPhone 16. I think this is the first time I've actually reviewed the TOTALLEE case, but we're going to see how they fit, how they feel. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether or not these cases are right for you. So let's get started. And here we have a clear grip case by TOTALLEE. So here is the case itself. It is pretty light and it is really thin. It's very flexible. It doesn't have any hard pieces on this case whatsoever. And it is nice and clear. So let's put our phone inside the case. Feels nice in the hand. It's not really grippy, but it's not slick. It's just kind of like a smooth rubber type feel to it, but it's also super thin. I mean, it's about as thin as the phone is. It only has a slight thickness to it. So if you want to keep your phone nice and thin, but still, put a case on it to add some protection, this is a pretty nice case. Buttons on the side are not really clicky. They are kind of mushy, but because the case is, it's all thin, there's no like rigid edges or parts on the case. The buttons aren't going to be super clicky, but they do seem to work. The action button is a little bit harder to press in. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see how thin it is. There's also a slight raised edge around the front of your screen. I also do not have a tempered glass screen protector on the front of my phone either. We have our separated volume buttons on the side, our action button. We have our cutouts on the bottom. We have our power button and our camera button cut out. You can see how thick that edge is versus the actual portion of the phone. On the back, shows off the color of your phone. It does pick up some fingerprints on the back, but that's pretty much with any clear case. You can fairly easily just wipe those away. Looks really nice. It almost looks like the phone doesn't have a case on it. And we do have a slight raised edge around our cameras. So even though this case doesn't have a MagSafe adapter on the back, you can still very easily use it with a wireless charger. And I also do have a version of this case coming up that does have MagSafe, so you guys can see that as well. Not a bad case. I just kind of wish that maybe these buttons were a little bit more rigid so it wouldn't be as mushy feeling when you push in on the buttons. That's my really only gripe with this case. The action button is a little bit harder to press. I mean, you really gotta kind of get your finger on there and press it in. But all the other buttons do seem to work. It's just they're just not clicky. They're kind of mushy. And here we have another clear grip case by TOTALLEE. So this case is a little bit thicker than the other clear grip case, and it's also got a firm back with MagSafe built in, and the buttons are actually separate from the case as well, and they're accented in a silver. I think it looks pretty good, and the case is surrounded by a firm rubbery type material. Now this does also have a kind of plastic cover that you need to peel off on the back once you get your phone in. So we'll do that now. So this case does have some grip to it, and the buttons are nice and clicky. They're very easily pressable, which I like. This case is definitely nicer than the other case that I just reviewed. It is just ever so slightly thicker though. It's not as thin. You can see that thick plate on the back does add just a tiny bit of thickness to the phone, but it's not bad at all. The phone is still really thin. I do like this case better. The buttons feel so much better. They're very easily pressable, nice and clicky. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see it does have a slight raised edge around the front of the phone. We've got our accented silver buttons that are separate on the side, our action button. We have our cutouts on the bottom. We have our power button on the side with our cutout for our camera button, and you can kind of see how much thickness of the case adds to the actual phone. On the back here, again, it's nice and clear. We can pull off that protector. Shows off the color of your phone really nicely, and it's got that MagSafe ring on the back. As far as fingerprints, does seem to do a better job at rejecting fingerprints as well. It's nice and it's got a grip on the back too, and it's also got a raised edge to protect our cameras. Very nice case. Let's check out our MagSafe. Got a MagSafe power bank here. Clips onto the back. Starts to charge your phone. And it does seem to have a fairly decent hold on the back of the case as well. I think it should be strong enough for this case. And this also does work with regular wireless charging as well. So if I were to go with one of the clear cases, I'll take the extra bit of thickness for the grip and the buttons that feel really good. So if you're looking for the TOTALLEE clear case, my choice would definitely be this clear case, even with the MagSafe. And then here is another case by TOTALLEE. This is their super thin case. So just like the name says, this case is super thin. It's like feather light, but unlike some of the other minimalist cases, this is actually a full case. It covers all the normal portions that a regular case would. It's just super thin. It's flexible, just made of all the same materials. There's no rubber on here. Goes in the phone really easily. Now this case, it might be slick. It's like, if it's not super slick, it's on the verge of being too slick. It does have a smooth feel to it, but it might be right on the edge of too slick for most people. But as you can see, the case is super thin. The phone is pretty much as thin as it was when the case wasn't even on it. It does feel good in the hand, but again, it's got a slick feel, which I'm not really a fan of. But as far as the buttons, nice and clicky, very easily pressable, no problems there. If we look at it from the side, you can see it's got a very slight raised edge around the front of the screen. We've got our separated volume buttons on the side with our action button. We've got our cutouts on the bottom, our power button, and our camera cutout on the side. On the back, it's got kind of like a very subtle texture to it. Feels nice and smooth. And it's also got a raised edge for our cameras as well. Very slight. I do like this case. The only thing that I think they could have added to this is maybe a little bit of grip just to make it not as slick. But I like how thin it is, and I like that it actually covers the whole phone. And this also does work with regular wireless charging, but it doesn't have any magnets built in. Again, this is their super thin case, and it's super thin. So if I had one suggestion, just maybe add some grip somewhere to this case to make it less slick. So out of these three cases, I think my favorite definitely has to be the clear grip case with the MagSafe ring and the buttons that are kind of accented. Even though it is a little bit thicker than the other clear case, it feels a lot better in the hand. It's got a little bit of a grip to it, and the buttons are nice and clicky. But what do you guys think of these three cases? Would you rather have the slimness and no MagSafe or clicky buttons? Let me know what you guys like in the comments below. And if you guys do want to pick these up, I will also be putting product links in this video's description. And if you guys enjoyed this video, it would really help out the channel if you gave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.